when men began to increase in number on the earth, and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and that they married any of them they choose. It matches with the old lot of like a mythology about the God, son of God, and they marry with human women's, and like Zeus always loved to do that, right? So that's say like Europe actually it came from like how that's they born the kids called European. I guess that's what I remember in Greek mythology. Also, Zeus had a lot of sons, a lot of heroes from there. Just from the sentence we see is this chapter 6 actually parallel with the chapter 5, both talking about different things. When chapter 5 is talking about Adam, Noah, the kind of like the timeline, the recorded time. But meanwhile, at the same time, these not only these two major tribes, actually there are a lot of settlements, a lot of experimental labs around the whole world, like Aztec, like Egypt, whatever. Just there are so many, Indian, China, whatever they are. They just all the settlement they start to populate. All the human beings start to populate, and this time we notice at the beginning only like the noble family they have a wife, right? But they have a wife. But after that, when the resources is sufficient, so they got like two wives. Lamech got two wives. Yeah, so that's we can see that's also the thing is when it said the sons of God. It's a plural, right? So, but the sons of a God sounds like it's against the kind of like those church teaching, because sons of a God, it's not angels, because angels they have no weenie, they have no sex, so they can't do nothing, and also the sons of a God, it's not talking about just one group, one special group of those heavens. They call themselves son of God, or we can consider those are the noble family, or that time the high priest, they call themselves sons of a God, or they just directly inherited the Eden's knowledge. So they are very unique. Between that kind, they have the seed, the knowledge fruit. They have the direct knowledge from them. So sons of a God, and they have the privilege. They took any women they like, and they marry. At least we can see by that time they follow certain rules. They give the women a legal position. They not just have intercourse with them, but they still follow certain rules. Also, I think it's interesting. The first thing is in ancient time, son of gods, they're not looking for hunting. They're not looking for music. They're not looking for food, something. It's just like I think after a long space travel, right? A long space travel, a lonely, dark space travel, after they spend so much energy build the earth, the first urge for them need to release is sex. So I highly believe high civilization, they still have that deeply in their mind, and go wherever they go, they need to populate, they need to release their sex urge. That's what I notice. I still wonder why heavens holds bystanders. Think about it. Can they create women when God start to create women, right? They didn't create women, or they create limited women. So they want human to populate first. Then the sons of God can marry with those human women. In here, two things are very draw my attention. First is the numbers, plural, right? It's not like one sons of a, not like a couple of it. It's actually a lot. It's a very popular thing globally. So I believe alien that time they have a big fleet, a lot of bachelors, and they only brought very limited gene samples. So to create a human, to create a testing slave for them are not that easy. They need to treasure every opportunity they have. So at the beginning, they create Adam, create Eve, create maybe Lilith, just only very few limited amount, let them to populate. So all the sons of the gods or all those heavens, they have to hold their pens. That's the first stage. Then gradually, when the female amount populated, they will release their urge. But it gives me another question. Why God didn't do it at the beginning until he saw Adam not feel good, being alone not feel good, has the urge of sex, then he have to make women. Why? I really don't understand. Maybe that's just his he have to do those things, but he maybe foresee something. Anyway, it says human women, the daughters of men are beautiful. So we have I think everybody have the consensus about the beauty. You can't say like a one eye crypt or some like with like a weird nose or some are beautiful. Most likely even different time, different tribe, different culture has the different measurement for beauty, but mostly you have to have a kind of like an even body, or you have clear eyes or smooth hair or something, you know. It's very common. I believe like ask like 100 people, we'll have like consensus about beauty. So I believe heavens, they pick up the women more fits their like stance, which means like that's the women they used to, they accepted before. So at this point, I think the high civilization or aliens, they try to use Earth as their second hometown. They try to populate, they try to grow, they try to make Earth as their settlement, try to do something on the Earth. That's the original purpose of creating the Earth. From this sentence, I have a thought. I think the sons of God probably are heavens, or or the other like high civilization members. Maybe they are the crew members, but why they wait 100 years or wait so long to marry with a human man's daughter? I think maybe it's a leap, but I think it may make sense because the long distance space travel will have like a big high radiation, so it kills their sperms or make their sperm mortality is dramatically go low. It takes a really long time for them to recover. Also, another thing is why they do not bring women with them or female aliens with them. I think in here, female alien, because our body structure is just like a likeness, like them. So, female alien, their egg, their oval, the mortality rate, it's harder for them to living, for those eggs to live. So I think when those aliens leave their hometown, they cannot carry female. Even carry 1-2 female, something is very limited because the space travel, the space, the weight, the mass, all those things are very limited. You have to consider rationally to consider the limits or the mass you carry. So since the female, their egg, it's hard to stay alive in the deep space or after high radiation situation, so they might need a big device or very big size of a device to keep 1 or 2 very small amount of eggs to alive. So that's the reason at the beginning they create men. They didn't create much female. Then after man and female start to populate, and the God or his son or crew member, whatever, their sperm mortality is recover after a couple 100 years or something. You know, your body start to like recover. So that's the reason they start to marry with a human's girl, daughter, to have their second generation, to try to populate on the earth. And but I have another thought. Why God want to erase his grandchild? Because, well, either he's a child or he's a grandchild, right? Because that's the son of the God and their child. So for God, it's considered his grandchild. And I don't know why God used such a way to deal with his grandchild. Interesting. Let me do more research. So again, for chapter 6, 1 and 2, I realize the condition for sons of a God, they try to pick women. Some books say fair, some books say beauty. I highly believe the evolution for human, or the condition to meet their needs, it takes time for human men and the women to develop to meet their require. For example, your body has to be not cramped, or you have to be with certain intelligent level, right? Because when they're married with those women, they call them wife to give them childbirth. It's a social norm, because if they just want plant the seeds to have a child, well, oh no, if they just want to have sex, any woman, any female, they can just use it, right? Use it as a tool to release their urge. No, but not. They specified person, women, as a wife. Basically, wife, you give them a position. You give their family a social position, either protect them, either so they can have the protection force to bearing the child. So I think those sons of the gods, they do value their their offsprings, and they are not just like give seeds that easy. They probably it takes time for them, takes condition for them to do so. Also, son of a god, you could think it might be the crew member, because biological son, right? For God's biological son, all those aliens, original aliens, they are what they call them son of God, because they show they have a special power or some kind of capability. But what about son-in-law or stepson? What mean is like sometimes we call like people like the kids we like, right? The kids like, and my son. So basically, you call young kids, you really like these kids, you give them like a permission, privilege of something. So those, for example, those Noah, or no, those Adam's family, or some slave, smart slave, good slave, they like it. They got privileges, so they call themselves son of God, because God called them son, or they give them privilege. It could be. So at this point, I highly believe women mostly they can have mate randomly, multiple mates, and it's just humans' body reaction. But in order for you to have a kid, to bearing a kid, because it takes what, 10 months. So for those sons of gods, they need a time. Within this time, 10 months, before the kids was born, before the kids is safe, secure, they need a protection. So they need to appoint them as a wife. So they needed the family to enjoy those, I think it's a privilege or the power or whatever, so they can have a driven force to protect their daughters. That's what I think. And these kind of behavior changes the wisdom fruit development, and it lead to a new culture, or feudal, or I think it's a new culture, because for people, if they have they have their benefit, they want to hold it and surround them. My cousin needs it, my brother needs, my sister needs, everybody needs. So it's a small kind of beneficial group start to form. So I don't know if this like heaven, they had this kind of experience before or not, but at this point I think they really don't care, because for sons of the God, I don't think they can stay on the earth for a long time. They can come to mate, then if they can be on the earth 24/7, they can protect their wives. But they can't, or they have another word to stay. So after, they do need some force to protect. So I think that explains wife, and that's the term of wife used to claim their belonging and give them a benefit, give the family benefit. Yeah, after read it again, more question comes out. I noticed two words: beauty. Any. Firstly, I noticed any women. Any women. Any women means anytime, anywhere, any location, any circumstance. So it just like feels like they don't have any warm up like a stage, right? Just grab one. That give me that kind of feeling. Also, beauty. They not pick up a woman strong. They not pick up a woman smart. They not pick up a woman generous, meek, or something. Because all those things took time to develop. Those character, or even those, mostly are characters, take time to develop. They just took the women beauty. So beauty usually, well, you see it. You take one glance, one peek, one look. Well, it's good. Then grab it. So my first feeling is, those sons of God, they were flying, or they were flying. Then they look outside, look downstairs. Well, that's beauty. Let's just grab it. Kind of like an eagle grab a rabbit. Then that's a picture in my mind. I checked the Greek mythology, and I checked China, those kind of Asian saints or whatever, those stories. Same thing. Like Zeus, he picked up women just one peek. He saw women was farming near the river, then had intercourse. Then the women give us son named Europa, I think Europa. Then same thing. One of a China far Asian king's mother. She was picking the fruit in the field. Then one of the son of God pick up her, and they mate in the field. And so she came back after 13 months pregnant, maybe longer. She gave birth. So it's very interesting, those sons of God, the way of the mating. So I think mating actually is the most important thing for them. They don't care the women, the body can or cannot bearing the kids or not. They just want a vessel. A vessel looks beauty for them. That's the only condition. Then what kind of race, what kind of culture made them think only the beauty is the most important? I think that reflects their beauty. We have to say that, because only they are they self-esteem themselves, they are beauty. So they were not allowed their offspring not beauty, because beauty is the first thing. Then the race must be, this kind of race must be very arrogant, very self-centered. They care themselves, the image is very much. So I think from these two sentences, that's what I got.